And I'm like, I cannot say this. Oh my gosh. You guys wouldn't believe this. Is this for real? This is for real. I am so stunned. The enemy has really been trying to stop me from filming this video. Like, it is so real right now. Like, guys, this is really happening. I've been wanting to film this video for the past 2 weeks because I was traveling for almost 10 days. I wasn't able to film this video, and I told myself I would really find the time to film it because it's something that is, as you can see from the title, it's something that I wouldn't normally do, and this is literally me bearing my soul. And I was gonna tell you guys about the whole, how I've been feeling like literally the enemy coming into the situation to like stop me from making this video, and this just confirmed it. I cannot believe this is happening. So basically, when I had the idea for this video, when it came to me, when I felt like it was something I should do, I immediately went to God and asked him, like, this is really not something that you want me to do, right? And he immediately gave me an answer that this is what I want you to do. I immediately wrote a script for this video, like just like points that I want to talk about, like how the idea for the video, how I came about it. Guys, I can't find that script anymore on my phone. And I promise you I did not delete it. And now I'm sitting here like, no matter what, I am going to talk about this. There is no doubt right now that this is something the enemy is trying to stop me from talking about, and I am going to talk about it. Okay, I have searched my phone for this file and I cannot find it. Like, it's not in my deleted folders, it's nowhere, it's not in my notes, in any of my notes, it's not there. And I am shocked right now. Like, I remember sitting down and like writing it down, and now I can't find it anywhere. That is crazy. Really, that is insane. Okay, so first of all, let me get into how this idea came to mind. First of all, as you can see from the title, this is not something that, well, it's a very, very hard topic for me because I'm literally being vulnerable about not being vulnerable. So it's kind of like contradictory. I've been praying for God to, like, you know, bring out everything about me that is, you know, preventing me from being close to him. If you guys watched my last video, you would know that I was talking about how I realized that I was not patient with a lot of people, and it was one of the things that came up. And after I posted that video, a few weeks later, well, not exactly a few weeks later, it was more like a couple of days later, towards like the last 28th of July, around 28th or 29th of July, I was just laying in bed and just like, I started this Bible plan early this year, and it's the 1-year Bible plan where you get to like read the entire Bible in a year. And I remember that night I was just reading the verses assigned for that day, and something about being brave, being courageous, and patient. And that patience thing came up again because I talked about it in my last video. I've been praying to God to like remove the habits in me that are not necessarily good for me and would prevent me from like building a relationship with him, to be intentional with my relationship with him. Going in circles about like trying to understand who I am as a person, vulnerability just like came to my heart. And I realized that all my fears, they like calm down to my fear of being vulnerable. I just had this feeling like it was something I needed to talk about, and I'm like, I cannot talk about this. If I do talk about this, this is literally me being vulnerable about not being vulnerable. I don't know how to be vulnerable with myself. Like, I literally just, you know, just let's ignore it, let's avoid it, then it'll go away. That is literally what I say to myself. But it's been recently, I've been trying to be vulnerable with God and with myself, be open with myself. And I'm still learning how to do that. I cannot do that with another person. I think that is what is stopping me. God was like, be vulnerable with me right now. I just opened up to God at that moment about everything that led down to me having this fear of vulnerability, where I just ranted to God for like almost like 30 minutes straight. And then he was like, that is what you need to say. And I'm like, I cannot say this. He cannot say this. And then, oh my gosh, I told myself I wouldn't cry. I am not crying. And he was like, that is what you're going to say. I was like, I am not saying this, God. I felt like convicted in that moment that I was like, I cannot do this. And I was like, God, please just give me a sign that this is what you want me to do. And then it was almost like midnight that time, and I just grabbed my phone and I went on YouTube, and I went to my, if you guys know, I listen to Mornings with the Masters, which is a daily devotional podcast I've been listening to for the past like 2 years, I think. And I had missed a couple of episodes. And the thing is, when I miss a couple of episodes, I do not start like today's one. I go back to the last one I haven't listened to and then work my way up from there. And then I clicked on the first episode I missed. You guys wouldn't believe this. I'm just gonna attach a video here for you guys to listen to what the video talked about.
There's a big difference between transparency and vulnerability. Transparency is sharing from a place where you're not really opening up, you're just kind of sharing facts, you're just kind of sharing where you are. But whenever someone is vulnerable, it breeds more vulnerability. And you start to unpack some of those things that maybe happen whenever you're a little bit younger. And then that vulnerability just opens up a spot for God to come in and just like say, you're healed, you're forgiven, you are loved. But it starts with that place of being vulnerable.
I finished listening to that podcast and I was like, I hear you, God. I hear you loud and clear. And I immediately went on my phone and wrote down everything I had told God. And while I ranted, I wrote everything down. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. And what you guys witnessed earlier was me looking for that script. I cannot find it anywhere, guys. But thankfully, I am glad, like, I still have an idea of, like, the conversation I had with God. And that is what I'm going to be discussing with you guys today. It is just so overwhelming. This is not something I thought I would ever talk about. Over the last few weeks, as I mentioned, I have literally been feeling like something not wanting me to film this video. Today I was working on something and I was like, let me start filming this, and then I went on my phone. I'm like, I cannot find this anywhere. I'm gonna try and remember as much as possible and the discussion I had with God. It all started when I was younger. I am not going to name names. Okay, there was this, it was not a major incident, but it was something that really hurt me. In that moment when it happened, I just shut down. I was probably 6 or 7 or 8, I can't remember. I remember immediately that thing happened. My 6-year-old self just said that I'm not going to cry ever again. And now thinking about it, I think it was less about crying and more about like showing my vulnerability. And looking back at it, I realized that that is the moment that I completely like shut down, like emotionally. I haven't been like very open about like a lot of things then. Ever since then, people would come into my life and I wouldn't have this like close-knit relationship with them. Like they'd just be like people in my life that I knew. And I didn't have that like strong connection with people. It was just, I just felt like completely detached from everyone. And I couldn't even say I love you to my sisters. My sisters would literally stay on the phone till they hear me say I love you. And I would hang up because I couldn't say it. It was just not something I was like able to like get out. Like I cannot explain. It's like not being able to do something because it's like you just can't, like you can't explain it, but you just can't do that thing. And saying I love you was one of those things. And I remember my sisters would stay on the phone till like at the end and they'd be like, Jane, say I love you. And I'd just be like, I'm sorry, bye, and I'd hang up, and they'd call me again immediately right after the call and be like, Jane, you didn't say I love you. I'm like, just bye. Just no, I cannot. Like, just no. It's just, just, it irks me just thinking about saying it. And then it wasn't until I was probably 16, 17, I came to India for college. And I think the distance after 1 or 2 years away from them, I started getting into that space of like saying I love you to them on the phone. Even now, I'm still having a hard time with this because I am just now realizing that my fear of vulnerability was like kind of like holding me back from like being completely open with my feelings. I am almost very certain that I am not just the one in this position, because I feel like other people out there have like this fear of vulnerability. I think it's something that everyone needs to overcome. It was until I started like being intentional about building my relationship with God that I started really praying that He like takes out everything out of me that is not meant for me. The closer you get to God, the more sinful you feel. There are also things that comes up that you never like realized that it was something that you did, or like it was something that mattered, or it was something that you see in a bad light. Like those things you never actually like take note of until you start, you know, getting closer to God, and then you're like, oh, this is something that I do, and this is something that is not good, and this is something that I need to like stop. And I have been trying to implement new habits to like get rid of those things so that I would get into a space of I no longer do this thing. It's just kind of like being completely aware of the things that you do to others. You need to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, with all your strength. And I'm in that phase of learning how to like completely love God, where it's like all of me belongs to Him, not like just portions of me. So if I belong completely to God, I need to let go of things that are not meant for me. So it's like letting go of something and taking something new, something better, something that is amazing. I talked about patience. Like I said, if you watched my last video, you would know what I'm talking about. I talked about patience and how I'm completely impatient, and I'm learning how to do that. It was around that day I realized that I'm not very open with people. And I was something I really wanted to work on. I felt like I need to build my relationship with people. As an introvert, it's very hard to be in a room with people that you're not good with having conversations with. And I hate to say this, but I'm not very good at having conversations with my parents. And that was the reason I was trying to find the root of the problem that night when this revelation that I had a fear of vulnerability struck me. Okay, the plane is gone. It was that night I was trying to find the root of my problem. It was a night that I realized that I wasn't good at having conversations with my parents, and it was something that I wanted to do. But I didn't know how to like take that first step to like start having conversations with them, because I do love my parents, and I want to have more like open conversations with them. But the introvert in me is like, no, not today. And I'm like, please. Not just have conversations with them. I want to be able to like go to my parents and like give them a hug without any reason, or like give them a peck on the cheek and like not have a reason to do that, just because it's something I want to do and because I want to show how much I love them. And not just my parents, like people I love in general, like my friends and my families. And it's not something I do. There was just this part of me that was like really wanted to like show, like express my like love for like these people that I care about, my friends and my family. But then there was this like part of me that was completely shut down, that didn't like, was like holding me back and preventing me from doing all those things. And that night when the realization came that I had this fear of being vulnerable was when I was like, oh, this is why all of these things are happening. This is why I'm not able to go to my parents and give them a hug without any reason. This is why I'm not able to have open conversations with my parents. This is why this is why that. And then it was kind of like the root of so many of my like problems, I would say. So many of the issues I have with being open with my feelings and showing my emotions. That moment when it hit me, I was like, oh my goodness, God, thank you for revealing this to me. And I pray that you come into this situation and help me, show me a way out of it so that I can be better and show my emotions to people the way that you want me to, and be vulnerable with you and learn to be vulnerable with others. And that's when this whole idea of the video came about. And I was like, there is no way. I was looking for a confirmation so badly from God that I was like, God just keep on like showing me like, and I'm like, Jean, if God tells you to do something, you just do it, no questions asked. And I'm like, oh, I just felt like convicted in that moment. And that was when I listened to the podcast and I was like, this is crazy. God really does want me to do this thing. For the past 2 weeks up to this moment, I have felt this like pressure from the enemy that I have not been able to film this video. And today when I realized that I had time to film this video, I was like, yes, I am doing this right now so that nothing else would come in my way and prevent me from filming this. And the constructions aren't letting me film this in peace. And not only that, I can find the script on my phone. I'm not even going to get into that again. Funny enough, I've been able to talk about most of the things that were in the script I had planned, and not necessarily a script. In case you guys are wondering, I do not script my YouTube videos. It was just like points I needed to talk about. This video was really hard for me to film. I'm not going to lie. It's outside my comfort zone. I'm really scared of being vulnerable. Over and over again, wondering what is like wrong with me. I guess I can say wrong with me. I've been wondering like for so long what is wrong with me, why I'm not able to open up to people. I was like, this is something that I really need to work on. It's hard for me to talk about because I am not in a place where it's like I have processed it completely. It is still a fear that is going to be there for a while because it doesn't just go immediately. It will take time and patience, for example. It will take time and patience to be able to get to a point where it's like, oh, now I can like be open with people. But funny enough, the next day after I woke up, I felt like a completely new person. Like I remember going up to my dad and giving him a kiss on the cheek. I remember hugging my mom, and I remember all of these things, and I'm like, I feel completely different already. I have been like so, I can say lovey-dovey with my parents because it makes me happy though that I can be this open and express how I feel by like giving you a hug or a kiss. And it's also new to me. I'm gonna say that it's also new to me. And my sister did bring this up a few days ago. If she's watching this, she probably knows what I'm talking about. She brought this up a few days ago and I told her, did you not watch my YouTube video? I am literally working on this right now. And she's like, I'm not supposed to learn about this from your video. I'm supposed to learn about this directly from you. And I was like, then I should probably tell you. But I'm like, it's still something I'm working on. And so there is still all like this, so many things to navigate, but it's little by little, it's step by step. It's a process. It's gonna take a long time. I don't know how long, and I just hope that I'm able to like get to the other side and look back and just be grateful to God for like bringing this up and being able to like work on it with him, get to a place where I can be vulnerable to him like completely and totally. And I am sure this is gonna be something that is beneficial for me, because once I learn how to be vulnerable, not just with myself but with others, it's gonna save me a lifetime of regret, problems, because being vulnerable is about like communication and being open with your feelings. And I think that is something that not just me, but a lot of people need to learn, because communication is the key to having a good relationship, right? Am I right or am I right? Okay, that was weird. Okay. I think this would help me grow a lot of my relationships that I have right now, my friendships, and whatever future friendships and relationships I have down the line in the future. I think that is it. I feel better. I am serious. I really do feel better. This feels like, but I think I've had like 2 weeks to like get into that space of I need to film this video. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I would not tell you the truth, I was clogging up there for a bit, but I'm totally fine. I am fine. If you had told me to film this like 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I'm still processing. But right now it's like, I think I feel good about this video. Okay, I think that is basically everything I wanted to cover. You guys, I'm gonna tell you this. I am still gonna look for that, like the script on my phone. I'm gonna look for that script and I will let you guys know if I do find it. You guys, that is basically what I want to talk about in this video, and I would give you guys an update on how this whole being vulnerable thing is going, and I hope like a year from now I can look back on this video and be like, God did that. God made me come full circle, and now I'm able to like have a better relationship with my friends and my family and just everybody in general. It completely makes me happy. There's still so many things I'm gonna work on, and about being open with my sisters, I am getting there. There are days when I do not feel like, you know, spending time with God, but it's something that I'm learning that I have to do. There's no end to learning about God's nature, and I thought I was in a season of waiting, but I think right now I'm realizing that I'm in a season of growth. God is trying to help me grow spiritually, and it's pruning me, and I literally feel so much better than I did like last year. I feel like a completely different person. I hope this video helps somebody out there. Whatever it is you're struggling with, know that God is with you, and God sees you, God hears you, God loves you. Literally so much. He loves you. And so do I. Yeah, this is me being vulnerable, guys. I love you guys so much. I am not kidding. It doesn't show my face, but I mean it. Deep in my heart. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for sticking around. And as for this month's video, you guys should stay tuned because it is coming pretty soon. At the end of the month, right? Yips, at the end of the month. Let's do Friday or Saturday. Let's do Saturday. That's it for this video, guys. It's getting pretty dark out. I'll be seeing you later this month. I'll catch you on this month's vlog. Stay blessed. And I think you guys are gonna be getting it. You guys are gonna be watching it because I am gonna upload this thing and the enemy won't stop me. You aren't stopping me. I can't believe I actually finished filming this without like bursting into tears. I'm not sure. Friday or Saturday, one of those days. I'm not sure.